Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a continuation of the interview from last week where I talked with Mihai, the CEO and founder of the startup JOBFUL, company focusing on improving the hiring process. If you didn't see the first part, you will find the link in the description, so check it out. Now in the second part, we discuss the current status of the company, technologies and software that they use, possible risks that startup faces, but also how the recent investment round went and how Mihai is seeing the future of the company. So far, we covered the beginning of the startup. Now I would like you to give me more details about the startup idea and the problem you are solving.
So in terms of JOBFUL and the startup, we always wanted to solve everything. As a mindset, when we were looking at different challenges, we said, okay, let's solve everything that's wrong with this process. And when we started working on recruitment or recruiting, talent acquisition, we identified quite a lot of challenges or problems. It's a process that you're looking as an opportunity for the talent market with two stakeholders, and on one hand you have recruiters or hiring managers, and the other hand you have candidates. Everyone is unhappy. We are talking about an opportunity and nobody likes or enjoys the process, and we do have figures for that. As a global benchmark, 9 in 10 candidates screened and qualified applicants are actually dropping the process because it's so siloed between solutions, different players, agencies, sourcing channels, departments, interdepartments, and so on. We do know that the quality of hire it's very bad. Within 18 months, half of the people that we're hiring are actually going to the failure rate, and we're looking to replace. So we do have a problem with quality. In terms of investment, the resources, talent acquisition is an area of investment. It's a cost center. And today we only hire 0.2% of the screened candidates. So we're paying for 1,000 profiles in order to hire 2 people. It's very bad. And most of the people are actually sharing something around 71%, I think, of the people are sharing bad recruitment experiences with their inner circle, affecting the employer branding as well. And when we look at the recruiter's experience, it's not better. They are going through one CV after another. They're spending around 60% of their time doing the screening, one CV, the next CV, the next CV. They spend less than 10 seconds on a CV, and they should be able to evaluate every type of profile in IT, in finance, in different departments, do it on a short period of time, and also drive quality. It's a mission impossible for them as well, and we knew that the space of talent acquisition needed innovation. And optimistic as we are, we said let's solve everything. And we started, for example, with the candidates. We started with our strongest background. Let's gamify the experience. Let's offer them a great experience. And they are able to do challenges and prove their skills, learn new things on the courses, from the courses, and assess directly online. They can refer new people to the platform. They are gathering points and have a gamified experience of every single action is rewarded with points. The points are actually the currency of the platform. So with these points, they can go on the shop and acquire different benefits. So we were looking at the entire spectrum of picking a new role or a new job, applying and being hired by a company. And every single step of the way, we looked from the angle, what's best for the candidates, how we can make this as good as possible, not for an ideal candidate, but for any type of candidate. Maybe some of them want to learn new things, maybe some of them just want to prove their skills and so on. That's how we put everything together, and we said it would be great if we don't spam candidates. If we don't send to an IT role the opportunity of working in translations, or anything else. I don't know. We wanted to make sure that this is not spammy. because it's one of the problems in the market. And for that, we build our own artificial intelligence algorithm that is analyzing every single touch point in the profile. I mean, work experience, skill set, education, professional values, desired perks or benefits. Every single thing it's analyzing, it's comparing with the job description, and they have an area where we do recommendations. So you're just like Netflix. You fit 89% with this role because we analyze the role and your profile and your activity on the platform, or you fit 95% with this role, making it as easy as possible and removing any potential spam over there. When we look at the other side, at the recruiters and hiring managers, for that we looked at the business process and how to optimize the business process. And we said the best link or recruiters are actually the gatekeepers for an organization. The first time you are trying to get hired by a company, you're actually meeting with a recruiter, and that's how you make your first impression. But even more than that, having the internet and access to online information, you are actually starting to discover about that company, looking for information, maybe asking some friends, trying to grab as much information as possible. We said, let's focus our attention on the career side, because today is just a listing of jobs. Let's see how we can build this entire experience that we created with the product as their career website. And that's how we pivoted this year. And for them, as benefits, we're doing quite a lot of stuff. So the two most important metrics in talent acquisition is conversion rate from 1,000 screen candidates, how many I'm hiring, or how many people I'm hiring from the process that I currently have, and time to fill, how long it takes in order for me to fulfill an opening. And we're cutting the time to fill in half. We're improving the conversion rate 5 times, so 500% improvement on the most important metric. And we created this collaborative environment for recruiters and hiring managers to work together. For recruiters, we also remove the entire pre-screening phase, taking 60% of their time. So having the AI technology, the repetitive task of going through from one CV to another, we optimize with this machine learning implementation, and they also have recommendations. Every single time they have an opening, they receive weekly or on a daily basis, however they prefer. Look, these are the best top profiles for you. And we're building pipelines of candidates with courses. We're upskilling the talent pool with these courses. We have the challenges system in order to constantly engage them. So we're offering multiple benefits for every single issue that we saw. We basically redesigned the entire talent acquisition process for both stakeholders, driving better results for each of them.
Well, I think all of us have some bad experience when applying for a job, so great job, guys. Now, continuing with the next questions, tell me, what does an accelerator do for a startup, and how many accelerators did you join and why?
I think we've been in a marathon of accelerators, to be honest. We started at the beginning of 2019 with Spheric by KPMG, our very first accelerator, and we wanted to grab as many resources as possible to learn about the process, to see how this is happening within a company, and it helped us a lot. The second one, also during the summer of 2019, was SAP IO in Berlin. We were looking to address new markets. We were looking to partner with SAP in order to sell together. And it was also a great experience. We actually met 2 of our investors during that accelerator. This autumn, we also joined Numa New York, an accelerator from the States, helping foreign companies launch in the US market and understand how they can do so. And for our pivoting and for our plans, it was the best timing possible, and it was a great experience. And last but not least, we just graduated Innovix, also created by BCR and in partnership with UiPath. And I think they have Modex as partners, so they do have a couple of partners over there working together, and Microsoft, for example. And it also helped us connect the dots in order to build this business for the next level of growth.
And in terms of IT, what did you develop so far?
So I think our investment in terms of product currently exceed 400,000 euros. So it's one of our biggest investments, and we've done so because we implemented most of the feedback that we had. We did a redesign during this year. We have the machine learning strategy in place. Apart from recommender, we also have likelihood to answer or CV parsing or different other tools and functionality. I'd say for us today, one of the biggest drivers is actually the product and how much we innovated the entire business process with the cutting edge technology that we currently have. So it's probably our most senior team, and it's quite a lot. It's a very complex but great experience, our product and our solution.
Tell me now, how big is the market you are in?
The online recruitment market at global level, how we are addressing right now, it's huge. Only the incremental growth from today to 2024, so for the next 4 years, the incremental growth is above 3.5 billions. So it's a huge market. We're currently addressing North America and Europe as areas of focus or markets of focus, with a priority for the States. And that consists around 30%, 31% of the entire market. So we do have huge potential in front of us. The most important aspect for 2021 is to capitalize it.
Okay, and what companies can use your solution?
Today, any company can use our solution. Maybe less so the small and medium businesses, but that can be different as well. I mean, any company who's hiring more than 200 people a year, it's relevant and can benefit from our solution. In the Romanian market, we usually work with enterprise sector or corporate sector. In the US market, we're working with mid-sized companies as well. For example, our very first customer in the States is an outsourcing company, around 250 people. So it can be a great business case also for mid-sized companies, but it depends on the market, I guess.
And related to your previous questions, what are the benefits for a company to use your platform?
Well, I would say not to join our platform, but to use our platform, to rent our platform. The main benefits is the cost optimization, first of all. I mean, there are multiple benefits: empowering the recruitment team, having more data and analytics for the talent acquisition process, being able to predict and forecast better the talent that they have in the organization, and have a meritocratic platform for candidates that will join their organization. I believe today talent, even more than technology, is the key differentiator in a digital future. And I think that's exactly where we help with talent acquisition. Where do they find the best people in order to grow the best business out there? And I'd say there are multiple benefits. Most of the companies, though, are taking this decision based on cost optimization. In within the first year, they have positive cash flow optimization with talent acquisition, and then on a longer period of time, even better results.
Let's talk now a bit about marketing. What is the marketing strategy and how do you attract your clients?
It's quite complex, the marketing strategy. So on short term, we're looking at outbound strategy, meaning how we identify the personas that we're looking for, and it can be talent acquisition manager, it can be head of digital, it can be head of innovation, it can be line of business managers having troubles with their talent acquisition processes. So we create the messaging for every type of persona, and we're looking for, as you mentioned, the ICP, the ideal customer profile. Progressive companies, empowering their teams with technologies, able to or driving growth for the next period of time. That would be the mix of an ideal company. And in terms of outbound, we create a messaging, we create a cadence of emails, we're proposing meetings, and that's how we generate leads proactively. On a medium long term, we are also building our inbound strategy, which means creating content, relevant content for our audiences. They can organically find this content, or we can promote this content and generate leads from understanding how we change the entire process and how the solution can help them. And last but not least, we have our channel strategy. We're working with SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft in order to deploy our solution on their cloud platforms and sell together, especially in enterprise sector.
How many clients do you have so far on your platform?
Today, I think there are a bit more than 250 customers, maybe 20 of them, around 20 of them, maybe a bit more, in enterprise sector. The rest of them are using our solution as freemium because we offer in the Romanian market a solution in freemium model, especially for startups and small and medium businesses. And right now, with the pivoting, we have our very first 3 customers implementing our solution as their career website. And this is the line of business that we're looking to grow as much as possible and as fast as possible.
And who are the biggest clients?
Well, I think today Coca-Cola is one of them. Coca-Cola HBC, the bottling company in Romania, is one of them. Microsoft is one of them, and KPMG is also one of them. So we're Groupama. We're working in the Romanian market. We're working with this enterprise sector.
So you have clients, some of them are really big. Question is now, what are the streams of revenue for the company?
Well, the very first stream that we had was this model of JOBFUL as sourcing channel, where companies can enter, find the candidates in our database and so on. Now that we pivoted, the revenue is split in half. Half of it is coming from the service side, and half of it from career platform direction as pivoting. And this is the direction that we're investing in order to grow.
2021 is a few days away. What are your business objectives for next year?
We actually have great plans for 2021. We want to expand as much as possible in the US market, meaning that we want to reach at least 10 new customers in the US market, hopefully a lot more, but that's a realistic starting point for as an objective. And we're looking to close next year in terms of revenue above 1 million in revenue.
One last question regarding the current company status. Who are your strategic partners?
Well, today we do have strategic partnerships for multiple lines of business. For sales, for example, as mentioned, we have SAP, Microsoft, and Oracle. For marketing, we're working with 3 different agencies for PR, for performance media, and for positioning, design, and everything. We do have great professionals and partners that we're working with. For IT development, half of it, I'd say, maybe a bit more, is in-house, but we're also working with the agency, the IT outsourcing company that I mentioned and worked for several years ago. So we do have strategic partnerships also for legal. We're working with KPMG, for example. For accounting, we have a strategic partner. We also have the advisory board and our investors that we also consider strategic partners. So it's quite a complex ecosystem. I'd say it's more than 50 people that are constantly working and putting effort into making JOBFUL a great business.
Now, Mihai, the subject of discussion will be related to risks for the company. And I will begin by asking you if you have competition locally or globally.
Of course we have competition. If we didn't, it probably meant that there's no market in that space. There's quite a lot of competition in talent acquisition. I think we have on one hand agencies, sourcing agencies that are delivering premium benefits. They are doing the entire process. They are calling the candidates. They are qualifying. They are doing the entire thing. But in general, they are quite expensive. So one way to position JOBFUL is as having the premium benefits of a sourcing agency at the cost of a SaaS. And that's one of the angles, just using the technology in order to deliver that. We do have applicant tracking system, but we're partnering with them. We have sourcing channels. We're also partnering with them as we're the piece of puzzle in between them. I think in the specific area of creating a great candidate experience on the career website, it's still a blue ocean. It's not that much that has been done, especially as complex as we've created it, tackling every single angle. In general, career site is just another feature as part of a bigger implementation with job listings, and we're trying to disrupt this market and change the approach.
One more question here. What are your current struggles?
I think in 2020 the biggest struggle was cash flow, for sure, because the pipeline was the most affected one, and we were looking to optimize our cost while driving growth for the business, and the two of them contradict in so many ways. When you're trying to invest and optimize cost, it's a different approach. And I think the financial aspect was one of the struggles for 2020. Right now, we solved this component with an infusion of capital, with signing a couple of new deals, with a very strong pipeline for the beginning of 2021, and the strategic partnerships that we have. I think the next struggle that we should be looking for is growth risks or managing growth. Because as a startup, you want to grow as fast and as much as possible tomorrow. But at the same time, in order to do so, you need to invest. How much you invest can also represent a risk for your cash flow. So it's a mathematical equation, a constantly changing equation that you validate. When we're signing this new deal, we're hiring a new sales rep. When we're signing the next deal, we're hiring a new developer. When we're signing the next, so it's making sure that you grow as fast as possible with as little risks as possible. I think that's the next struggle that we'll be having for 2021.
Let's move on to the technology part. What did you develop so far in terms of mobile online applications?
We developed everything that was asked or required by the market. We developed the entire experience for recruiters and hiring managers with everything that they've been asking for. We developed the candidate experience with the gamification and everything that we wanted to offer the candidates. We developed the mobile app, which is connected with the online platform, so it's more or less the same experience within the mobile app. And then we developed the SaaS solution, which is a change of framework basically, but the same product with bits and dots modified, the ability for a customer to customize the solution. Now we're developing multi-language, for example, to be able to add different other languages. And in terms of a roadmap, I think we have plans for the next 4 years.
Is it a cloud-based platform?
We try to stay cloud agnostic, and we so far successfully. I mean, being able to deploy for the customers that want on premise using Docker, being able to deploy on SAP or Oracle or Microsoft or Amazon on any type of cloud. We try to stay cloud agnostic so we can capitalize all the opportunities that we can.
What software are you using within the company?
Well, we're using quite a lot of tools. I mean, the development team is using, for example, Bitbucket. In some cases, they're using Trello or Asana for project management or for versioning in some cases. We're using Slack for communication. We're using Google Suite today. for calendar, emails, and everything. We're using ClickUp for project management for different other processes. We're using Post Markup for sending emails. We're using MailChimp for newsletters. We're using HubSpot for customer relationship management. We're using, I think, quite a lot of technology. And I think it's important. We're using Zoom, for example, for calls, or Google Meet, and just like the one we have right now. Um, I believe we do have I think that the average in the team in terms of age is maybe around 26, 27. So we do have a young team adapting very fast to new technologies or frameworks and looking to use the best fitted solution for us in any scenario. So we're using quite a lot of technology.
Switching to the investing area, and as you just finished your round of financing on Seedblink, tell me, what did you offer investors?
So as a bridge round, we actually offered the same contract that we offered for the previous round. We started it, I think, in November 2019, and we had the two investors from Germany. We had a couple of other investors joining in February, in April, and in June. Two of them also joining this autumn in September or October. And it's the same term sheet. It's a convertible loan, capped at 6 million, offering 40% discount for the conversion to the next round, which means if we close the seed at 10 million before end of September 2021, it's a 66% return on the investment based on the difference between the cap and the valuation from the seed. And that's actually the format. We raised before Seedblink 325k. We said if we want to grow and address a global market, we do need an injection of capital in order to be able to invest and grow the entire business. And that's when we put a target of 200k on Seedblink, and we managed to close it in, I think, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Not at the target, but at maximum, which was 250k, allowing us to invest in our growth for the beginning of 2021.
And will the investor be able to convert the money into stocks?
Yes, it's actually their option. So you have two aspects. You have voluntary conversion and mandatory conversion. The mandatory conversion means if we're closing the seed, this conversion is the term sheet that we sign, the convertible loan, it's converting with the 40% discount, which become common stock. And they have the option to say we want a liquidity event, so for the next 9 months we want to be paid back with interest or with the return that we have from the conversion. If the mandatory conversion doesn't happen, so we are not closing the seed, at the end of September they have voluntary conversion. It's a maturity date, and they have three options. They can say I want out, I want my money back with the interest rate, which I think it's 10%. It's not an interest, it's a penalty. So 10% return on the invested amount. The second option is I want to convert. So they can convert at 6 million cap and get common stock once again and have the returns based on the round afterwards. Or the third option is I want to postpone, meaning I want the same condition, the same term sheet, will postpone it for 1 year. I get 10% as penalty on top of the investment, so my investment is growing, and I allow 1 more year for the mandatory conversion to happen, for the seed event to happen. So these are the three options that the investors have, and either at seed or at maturity date, they can pick one.
Can he invest more in the seed round?
I think that's a discussion that we need to have with all the investors at the beginning of January. I think it can be an option to follow up the investment at seed if they want. Right now, I don't think it's in their best interest because they also already have 40% discount. If they're joining the round, they don't get a discount. It's just being part of the round. They are just acquiring preferred stock in that case, but at 10 million valuation. I don't know how much capital our investors from Sibling have, and it's for sure their call and their option. But I think it's a discussion that we need to have together with these investors.
And why do you think you're so attractive for investors?
We were the very first startup offering convertible loan, and we needed to explain what's that and how it's working, just like I did just now. So I think it was a risky direction that we went for, but I think in general, startups are raising in order to make a business happen. When they're looking to raise money, especially in early stages, they are looking to put their plans in actions with the infusion or with the capital of the investors. We are not at that stage anymore. This is a pre-round for us. We already have revenue, we have customers, we proved to a certain level our market fit. We pivoted, we started working for the US market, we have our prospects and very first deals in that space. I mean, for us, it was maybe the entire opportunity was reflected, or I wanted to reflect it in a different angle. The fact that we're doing this and driving this, and we've been doing this for a couple of years, and we know what it takes and how to grow this business. It's actually an opportunity for the investor to join the round and get some returns. And I think only from seeing the history that we had and all the awards and achievements that we received or we had, I think it made our business more appealing because it's not as early stage as most of the startups in the market.
And now two questions related to each other. What would be the valuation of the company after this round, and how is the valuation for a startup done?
In general, for early stage, they have multipliers on revenue, they have revenue. There are different models to set a valuation for a startup. But in general, investors, from my experience, at least international investors, they are looking at what is the risk that I'm actually taking, how many assumptions are there that weren't tested or are just estimates or guesstimates. So what is actually the risk that I'm taking, how much, how big it is, and on the other hand, what's the potential for return, meaning how much can I make taking these risks if the company is going in the right direction. And there's another layer in between of control in general, but that's a different discussion. And I think it really depends on the profile of investors, but for early stage in general, the risks are a bit bigger and the returns are also a bit bigger. After all, we've been proposing and we've been signing a 9 months period committing on 66% return. I don't believe there's too many businesses that can actually offer that. So I think our current evaluation, the cap that we have in term sheet at 6 million, I think it's spot on. And the best way to prove that is by closing in H1 next year the seed round at 10 million.
Good luck with that. And continuing with the shareholder structure, how does it look at the moment?
I try to keep it as clean and as simple as possible, because if you bring too many investors, at some point the cap table looks a bit crowded and it can make your business or your startup less appealing for some investors or for institutional investors in some cases. That's why we signed all of our contracts as convertible loans. Today, we're still owning more than 90% of the company, and after we convert everything, we're still around 90% later on. Depends on how big the seed will be, and we also have different strategies in terms of buybacks. for some investors who want a liquidity event. So we do have a strategy in place for investment as well.
Okay, and what I understood from you is that you own 100% of the company.
Yes, right now it's we're actually converting one of our first investors, the owner of the IT company actually, and two other term sheets we're converting. So probably at the end of 2020, we do have 3 new people in our cap table. But yeah, right now I'm still owning 100% of the company.
Sticking a bit to the subject, under what condition will you let another investor become a shareholder, and how much percentage of the company are you willing to give away?
I've been growing maybe at some point with the social network, the movie, if you saw it, with related to Facebook. And they are putting a perspective over there that you should never give up majority of the company because it can be dangerous and all the risks that come with it. Today, I'm less scared of giving parts of the company as I was maybe a few years ago, as I do believe having the right partners as shareholders is actually empowering them and giving them the means and needs in order to put even more effort and help us grow the business. But you mentioned about the conditions, and this would be the number one condition, making sure that the shareholder is actually actively contributing to the business growth, to the growth of the business. Otherwise, it's what I was running from, being employed, having some people who just benefit from our work without contributing, something that doesn't add up in my mind. So I'm looking for strategic partners for smart money, for people who are ready and able to contribute to our plans and to our growth as a business. And in terms of percentages, there's quite a lot of flexibility over there. We're looking to raise as much as we need, not less, not more, and to offer as much as it's relevant for the other part to join our journey.
I think now, because of your experience with a startup, you see things differently. What would you recommend to people that would want to invest in a startup, and what should they look at?
Well, I'd say for me, I also invested in a startup. So for me personally, it's important to understand the revenue model. In many cases, I've been looking at multiple startups, and in many cases, I do believe there's a perspective from entrepreneurs thinking that if I have a good product, people will buy it. It's not that simple. It's never that simple. If there's a need in the market, probably someone else is fulfilling it. Knowing how you can do better and how you can convince these people that it's better to go for your solution or product or service or whatever, I think that's key. And I usually trust examples instead of stories. I've been hearing this is how we're gonna make millions or a lot of money, but we didn't yet. I prefer the stories related to we just started working on this, or we've been working on this, and we have 3 people or 3 companies who are actually paying for it. If someone is paying for it, that's the baseline that I'm looking for.
That's quite an interesting approach. Let's discuss now about the future of the company. Where do you see the company in 2 years?
Well, I think by the end of 2022, we'll be able to close our Series A, not only the seed. So we'll probably be raising more than 10 million, or have been at the end of the year, have been raising more than 10 million and addressing multiple markets, maybe having a stronger presence in the States, in Western Europe, in Romania as well, and continuing to innovate in the field. I think 2 years is it's enough time to grow from 6 or 10 million valuation to maybe 100. That would be a target for us.
I hope you reach that valuation. How about the biggest milestones you have to reach?
Well, I think the biggest milestone would be one of them would be to find a strategic partner in the US market. And we do have some of our investors or some of our partners also have presence in the States. But as a Romanian business with the entire headcount currently in Romania, um, having someone in the US market to sell with or to sell together to different customers, I think it's a great milestone. Our very first hire in the US market is another milestone, and probably after that we'll be looking at our first 10 customers in the States, our first 100 customers outside Romania or in Romania, our first, I don't know, we'll see it, we'll take it from there.
And do you have in mind the exit strategy?
Well, I don't actually have the exit in mind. I'm thinking right now the potential is huge. Let's grow it and let's take it to any heights that we can. I think the point that I would consider an exit strategy would be the point that I believe it's someone else who can grow it faster than me or than us. And it can be an acquisition, it can be any type of exit. But I think until the point that we say someone can have a greater impact with our business or our solution in the market than we can as a team, until then we're not looking to exit.
Thank you, Mihai, for your time, the answers you provided, and the insights into your company. Two more questions before I let you go. What are you currently reading, and what is your favorite book and why?
I think I have two areas that I like reading into. One is sales business related, and I think that the preferred book is To Sell is Human, just absorbing and understanding that we are actually selling every single day, and the idea of selling shouldn't be frightening for anyone, and that's one direction. And the second direction, I think for me it's a lot about mindset and having a happy life. I mean, if this wouldn't make me happy, I believe it would have for sure been a stop during the entire period of time. I don't know. I read Hooked, understanding how we're in this attention economy and how different tools are capturing our attention. Growth Mindset, I think, is one of my preferred books. I do believe for a startup can grow as fast as the founders and the team is growing. It cannot grow faster than that. And I think it's critical and important to have the right mindset and the right means and the learning process in order to take your business to the next level every single time. And reading has created me a systematically way of thinking. So I'm not thinking in tactics. Let's learn about outbound strategy and we'll know that and that will help us. I'm reading more about how to create a system of motivators or of partners or different other strategies in order to build sustainable and scalable. That's the maybe one advice that I have for everyone.
Don't forget to subscribe, and for any suggestions, please leave a comment below. Until next time, read more and invest smart.